Welcome to the Journey 2020. I'm Charles Morris, happy to be here with you on this Monday. And as crazy as it is for me, I have to admit it's a little crazy. I was supposed to have a guest who was just calling me as I was going on air right now, and I won't even get into that. But unfortunately, my guest who I had asked to come on, and we had tried to get her via internet to come on. And so I won't get into that, but that's just part of my world that's inevitable. But anyway, I'm Charles Morse, and this is the Journey 2020, where we come to you every Monday at 7 p.m. at www.thejourney2020.com. We're also on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Periscope, and we're here at the website where we're happily and proudly since we've been around since 2013. So we talk about some of any and everything. Sometimes we're serious and sometimes we're not so serious. And as my old co-host used to say, the journey is from me to you and from you to me so we can reach a high level. And that is what we try to do here. So now that I found out a few minutes ago that my guest is not going to be here, so what am I going to do? Well, and that's part of my world is that I have to try to come up with something for the show because as they're saying, the show must go on. But in the meantime, before we get to the actual topic of today, maybe that's what I'm going on through my head right now. I'm trying to come up with a topic. But no, actually, I know what I want to talk about. Let me remind you that the third Monday of every month is, I have a smile on my face. The third Monday is with Dr. Cathy Meeks. And Dr. Cathy Meeks is from Robertson and Associates. And guess what she does? She's a sex therapist. And so she comes on the third Monday of every month and we have some fun. Someone says that we have some pretty good chemistry. But isn't it fun to just sit and talk about sex and our issues and therapy and all of this that comes with just talking about something that we all love talking about, most of us anyway. And so the Cathy idea in her, I guess, the field that she works in through all of that she sees, she just felt that it was important that some of us should be able to be more comfortable with ourselves, to deal with some of the myth about the world of sex, to kind of combat some of the little things in which people really don't know that people are fighting through. So it's always an interesting conversation. So we encourage you to, if you have questions, comments, or you can even give us a show idea, if you would like to. But it's the third Monday of every month with Dr. Cathy Meeks here at the Journey 2020. I'm sorry, the Journey 2020. And so it's a fun show. It's fun, but it can be serious because there's some serious issues when it comes to our world of intimacy. And as I tell Cathy all the time, when you're in college, right? You young, you in college. And so you thought it would be cool to take a sexual behavior class. And that's what I did when I was in college. Little did I know what I would learn. And it's kind of like what the teacher said. He said, yeah, I teach this sexual behavior class, but who in here want to go and tell somebody that they took this class and they flunked sex? So, he got a big laugh out of that. But it was extremely informative and it helped you to step outside the realm of your little world, because, our world is very small, and helped you to see things differently from different cultures. He brought some people in off of the streets, from prostitutes to some other people. We talked about homosexuality, so on and so forth. So it was extremely informative, and I learned some things that you never even thought of. And I don't mean crazy stuff like people think, because Cathy says she get phone calls, a lot of times where people just call. And I think because she's a sex therapist, they must think that she's some kind of super freak or something like that. But when I say that you learn things that you didn't even think of, it's just that some of the stuff that, like I said, we live in our own little small little world. That's things that you didn't even think would be an issue is an issue for some. And it's a major issue for some. And you'd be like, what? Because of what? And it's all what's in their mind. So I say all of that to say, please tune in, take part, ask questions. And like I said, I'm going to see if I can put up the, where you can email us. You can, I mean, you may have a show idea, something like that. And we would love to hear from you and would like to know of some of your show ideas. Now, the fourth Monday of every month, this is another important show that I think is just as important as the third Monday of every month, and that is with Hakeem Nkrumah. Now, the reason why that show, the fourth Monday, is because Hakeem been working with young fathers of Central Florida. He has a very unique program. And if you know anything about this country and our attitudes and our outlook on young teen fathers, you know it really sucks. Okay? We label them. There's nothing out there really for them. We just basically want to pretend like they just some species from another planet. Well, Hakeem and what God put on him, he's very knowledgeable in the area of young teen fathers. His program been around for 10 years. He started it out in New York, and he's been here in Central Florida for a period of years now. And he does amazing work, and there's 8 programs within his program. And so if you ever watch the show, or if you ever want to learn more about young fathers of Central Florida, because he's always looking for volunteers, or you may know a young father that might need help, And what I mean by help, because of all the different services that they provide, but they help these young men kind of grow up because they've taken on a tremendous responsibility of bringing a child into the world. And, there's a saying that the majority of us, like myself, I didn't come into this world like my mother and father sat down and said, you know what? I think we should have a child, let alone they would never marry. But most of us come into the world like, wait a minute, you what? You sure it's from me? No, hold on, wait a minute now. That's how most of us come into the world. Not all of us, but a lot of us come into the world like that. What? Wait a minute. You pregnant? How did that happen? I know that's how I came into the world, according to my father, as he told me a few years ago, because I always wondered what was that conversation like, when my father found out that my mother was pregnant, or when she found out that she was pregnant. But that's another story, because the story that he told me was a very interesting one from the standpoint of my mother said that she knew she was pregnant the day that she got pregnant. That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother show. But with that being said, Young Fathers of Central Florida, Hakeem Nkrumah, the fourth Monday of every month, talking about child custody. That's what we're talking about, child custody. And to get around all the red tape and the crap that we have to go through the system, because the system is set up in a lot of ways for you to be caught up in the system, for the system to frustrate you, and for the system to take your money. And then not understanding your rights and not understanding a lot of things. So, because a lot of people think that these teen fathers really don't want to have anything to do with these kids. And that's, as a matter of fact, I've been to some of the meetings and I've seen some of these young men sitting there crying because they're so frustrated with the system and all they want to do is just spend time with their kid. I've seen it. And they're so caught up with what the system is doing to them. Or, when they don't have a good relationship with the mom, and that's a whole nother story. I can sit here and we can go over that whole thing of the dynamic of when you 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 years old. And, a lot of the women are trying to understand how come these guys don't feel a certain way about them. No, you had sex with him without anything other than this is what I want to do. So now there's a baby involved, and now you want feelings. Don't quite work like that. But as we know, we get older, we start to understand how God made a woman and how God made a man. And so he tries to teach him that. Excuse me. With that being said, the fourth Monday of every month is when he's on, and we're talking about custody, visitation, and those things that take place that sometimes can be a true battle for a lot of different reasons. And he has a lot of successful stories, and not all of those situations are such a battle. There's peace among the two. Peace among the families. I can't say two because everybody's supposed to come together, but a lot of them come together and try to make it work. And for those who are dealing with a war, a battle, and part of that is learning how to deal with all of that as well and put things in check and know that you have rights and how to go about it and to be patient. And things will eventually show up in your favor, but you got to know how to do what you need to do to take care of your business. And there's no doing wrong. There's doing the right thing. It's about doing the right thing and putting your feelings in check. That's what I really was trying to say. Putting your feelings in check. Just because somebody may have done you wrong because of how they feel, because they're hurt. So he deal with all of that and some. So he has story after story after story. So you make sure that you check out Hakeem Nkrumah on the fourth Monday right here on www.journey2020.com right here. And with that being said, remember this right here. Remember this. Wednesday night, 11 p.m. We have the original, the one, the only, the true, the man, the coach, Vince L. Carter, Sr., as we bring you Youth Central Sports. That's at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Notice it's almost like I'm the weatherman right now. We're on the partly cloudy skies with a high today of about 94. The low tonight is about 62. Right now, the temperature is 84 degrees. That kind of stuff. But anyway, Youth Central Sports, come your way every Wednesday at 11 p.m. right at www.youthcentralsports.com, where we talk about some of any and everything when it comes to sports. That's Youth Central Sports, Wednesday night, 11 p.m. with the original Coach Carter. And there's a joke about that because the famous Coach Carter that everyone knows from the movie, him and Vince are like really good friends. And he came and spoke at one of Vince's event. He's a really nice guy. He's funny. He's very knowledgeable. He's down to earth. He's really a fun guy. And I am going to dig into my archives, and I'm going, and I know I'm on a journey right now, but I'm going to dig into my archives because I met the two coaches. From the movie with Denzel Washington, Remember the Titans, and what that film was based on. I met those two coaches, and I met them more than once. And I have an interview. No, I have where they spoke, and they spoke of the movie. They spoke of their relationship. They spoke of what it was like when he first came there, and how true was that story to the movie. Very interesting conversation, but I'm going to dig that up, and probably, I don't know if I'm going to show it on the journey or if I'm going to show it on Youth Central Sports, but that just came to mind because in my archive somewhere, because this happened a few years ago, maybe about like 6 years ago, and I forgot that I had it. So very informative. And as a matter of fact, as I think of it, I think I need to find that footage because very, very informative. But anyway, this is the Journey 2020, where we come to you every Monday at 7 p.m. Now, today's show, I've been rambling. How long have I been rambling now? I've been rambling for a long time here. But anyway, my original guest, Miss Finley, was supposed to be on, and we were going to talk about nursing today. Okay, nursing, in the field of nursing. Because when I went to see her, by the way, Let me say this. Last week, I was in Miami for about maybe 4 or 5 days. And the reason why I went to Miami, because I found out a few weeks ago, like 2, 3 weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, that a very good friend of mine, I hadn't seen her in about maybe 6 or 7 years, but you know how you keep in touch on Facebook, you give her a shout out once in a while. And I go and I'm looking, I just happened to go to her page just by sheer, I just went to her page and look. And my dear friend is fighting breast cancer. And it just broke my heart. So I'm like, wow. So, I had to immediately reach out to her. So reached out to her and found out that last week, she was having surgery. I got there on Sunday. She had surgery on Monday. And so I went to see her on Tuesday and Wednesday. And she was doing so good that she went home on that Wednesday. And I've been keeping in touch with her and asking her how's her recovery doing, and she's doing great. And so I'm just saying that Frances is her name. Love her very much. She's a wonderful person, a great spirit. My prayers go out to her and her recovery, and praying that she will be cancer free, and that the doctors and all of that from medicine to everything, that she's being advised correctly, and that God would take his healing hand and just cleanse her body and just do what he does. And so I say all of that to say, Francis, love you. Keep doing what you're doing. You're going to be okay. And I know you're going to be back to your normal self real soon. And for all of those that are dealing with that, my mother died of cancer. But she didn't die of no, she didn't die of breast cancer. She died of lung cancer that had spread it throughout her body, and so on and so forth. But that cancer thing, and I just found out that a friend of mine who I should have went to see and I didn't know it, and I found out by sheer accident that he died of cancer. One of my instructors, great guy, it's in my heart, and I'm just sitting here and all of this, and I'm laying all of this out right now. And then I found out like 4 or 5 days ago that a very good friend of mine had a massive heart attack and she died. She was young and didn't find out until she was buried and gone. Not quite sure why brother didn't call me, but that's a whole nother show in itself. But with all of that being said, and with my instructor passing, and with that, and anyway, blessings, and just want to say, Francis, keep fighting the fight. Love you very much. I'll be back down in Miami sometime real soon. But I say all of that to say, when I was down in Miami, my little sister, I call her my little sister, that I always go down there and hang out with her. I used to hang out with her in New York for many, many, many years. She's been in nursing for a very, very long time. And so she went to the hospital with me. And so in just talking in general, she was sharing some things and how things are changing, and how now what they had to go through in the training and actually being there, she's saying that they're changing it to actually, in a way, and I'm paraphrasing. I may not have it correctly. That's why I wanted her to have come on the show to talk about what they went through in the hands-on. Now they're putting it on a computer. And she said, Charles, it's like night and day. And it's like she said, they're losing, I guess, the actual hands-on. That it's not a good thing, but I think because becoming such a computerized world, that the acceptance of it, I guess, I would say, just past the board or whatever it is, in the mind thinking of actually going and having the hands-on. So I just thought that would be an interesting topic, and that she can kind of talk about the field, because for those who, it's kind of like what the nurse told Frances when I was there, when I went to see her on Tuesday. And when I came in, the nurse came in to walk her. And then another nurse came, and then she said, she was kind of laughing, but she was kind of frustrated at the same time because she said they want her to rest, but they coming in and waking up like every 3 hours to do something. So you're like, wait a minute, how you want me to rest when you're waking me up every 3 hours? But she understood the process and all of that. And so the nurse that was there, she was saying, because Francis would say, well, there's some people still coming to see me. And so the nurse said, well, you're doing so well. We think you should go home. And so she said, really? And so the nurse said, this is no place to get well. The hospital is no place to get well. And if you ever get a chance to go home and leave the hospital, you should leave the hospital. Like, yeah, and she was emphasizing, this is no place to get well. That's the old Richard Pryor thing. Richard Pryor said, the hospital is no place to get well. And the whole idea. And it's so funny because when I listen to Charles Stanley, and I won't get off into this and how we are, and sickness and illness is such a major part of our culture, and so many aspects of illness and sickness when it comes to our health, and how the devil is so busy bringing us down because of our inability to understand how God gave us dominion over the earth. But because of things like food and all these other things that has dominion over us that are not good for us, we are a sick society, and you can't tell us, you can't begin to tell us what to eat or what not to eat. And that's the sad part of it, because of our culture and our society and how we really, really, really don't have a clue about how we are indulged in processed food and what it does to our body and how foreign it is to our bodies and what we eat. And we become so indulged into our diet that it has dominion over us, and we refuse to accept the responsibility of eating right and exercising and taking care of ourselves. We just refuse because we love something that is so bad for us. So with that being said, I just thought it would have been a great idea for her to come on the show and kind of break down the nursing world and where we are now in technology, what is in the field of medicine, going into being a nurse, going and thinking about being a doctor, or some of the other avenues that are open in the medical field that especially now, because just for an example, I give you an example. I do a youth summit every year. I've done it for 15 straight years. And last year, my summit was very informative because we dealt with STEM research and robotic surgery. Well, that's a big thing now. Anytime you say STEM anything, then, oh, STEM, it's STEM. But the robotic surgery. Now, if you go back, if you archive the show, I've had Peter Carnegie on, and from the STAR program, and what he does, his real job is that he goes around the country and he teaches these top surgeons how to operate the robotics to do robotic surgery. Well, what he does out at Celebration here in Central Florida, here in Orlando, they have this building with all of this $1 million worth of equipment. That's where the training and the technology is, part of it is right there. And he brings students in and they go to these simulators. We're talking high school, we're talking college. And these kids, by the end of the day, they're doing the surgery. It's the most amazing thing. And when he took part in my summit, to be honest, the kids did not want to go home. The parents got involved. The parents was like, oh, can you show me? So they're sitting there and they're looking 3D, and the technology is such, and he's showing them the other videotapes. Now, he said that he's been doing it for so long that he can do the robotic surgery, but he doesn't know let me say, the doctoring part of it, because if something goes wrong, then the doctor knows what to do. But he said from the standpoint of the actual robotics and the surgery, he said he's been teaching so long, he knows how to operate it. So he knows, and you sitting there, and one of the things that we had to do is we had to make sure that no one, we had to make sure that they didn't have a problem looking at organs and blood, and you seeing people that are, the body's open and you're looking inside, and it looks real when you look at the simulator. And so with that being said, again, the technology and what's going on. And so I just thought inviting her on would be a wonderful thing, in that she has some, well, let me put it to you ladies right here. She turned on her computer, because we was going to do it via internet, right? She turned on the computer we're going to do it internet. Her computer started updating. 25 minutes later, it was at 15%. So then I wanted to do it on a phone, which we could have, but then she said something. So I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. We're going to, this is what I'm used to doing. Now I've been sitting here and I've been talking. How long have I been talking? I've been talking for 26 minutes. Didn't mean to do that. But with that being said, we're going to take a quick time out. Then I'm going to tell you what we're going to talk about. And with that being said, I cannot emphasize and I'm trying to find what I'm looking for here. I found it. But I can't emphasize enough Dr. Woods in the Center of Urology, the great work that they're doing over there. And for those who know absolutely nothing about the P shot or the O shot, especially I'm talking about for us old people, or the old people, then you need to do your research on the P shot and the O shot, okay? And you tell them that you heard it on the Journey 2020. We'll be right back.
Hey, brothers. How are you? Are you ready to get your sexy on? You should check me out. I'm Dr. Abraham Woods with Rejuvenation Treatment Centers. And guess what we have here? We have that famous P shot. The P shot is giving you your platelet-rich plasma back to the penis, that's improving your girth, your length, your sensation, your orgasms. What more do you want in life than to have great sex? Look me up when you want to get your sexy on, and check us out at Rejuvenation Treatment Center. I'm Dr. Abraham Woods.
Nothing like getting your sexy on, right? That is too funny. He does a great job there. And I would say, again, please do your research. You might be surprised. I'm telling you, okay? Hi, I'm Charles Morris.
Hey, I'm Coach Carter.
And that's the original, for real Coach Carter.
The only one.
The only one. And Coach Carter is joining me as we're coming to you with Youth Central Sports. You can check us out at youthcentralconnection.com. You go there, you'll be able to click on the link. You'll be able to watch us live at 11 p.m. on Wednesdays. We're coming your way. You'll be looking for us for more information. Check us out, right, Mr. Coach Carter?
Absolutely.
That's Youth Central Sports. You'll be able to check it out at youthcentralconnection.com.
Hi, my name is Cathy Meeks. I am a marriage and family therapist and a board-certified sex therapist. We will be discussing all things sexual. Whatever relationship issues that you're having, give us a call and we'll be glad to discuss it with you. You can join us the third Monday of every month at www.thejourney2020.com. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. Remember, 7 p.m. on the third Monday of every month.
Wow. Sitting here, because you have to feel, I'm used to talking to people. So, I'm used to talking to people. And so you have to fill an hour. And so with that being said, my question that I wanted to ask, And my pastor, brought it up, and he made a great point, and that what's frustrating for me at this place and time is that we have I don't know, when it comes to where we are with the president in our country now. Does it say more about President Trump, or does it say more about who we are as a country? Because there's plenty of people like Trump in this world, all over this world. Trump is nobody new, and there's plenty of people like him. But my question is, where are we and what we have become to put him in office? If anybody who watched this show have heard me say 1,000 times, and I believe this to the day I die, that you have all the right. If you want to be a jackleg, then you have all the right in the world to be a jackleg. If you want to be part of the KKK, of the Black Panthers and all of that, you don't have a right to harm anybody, hurt anybody. But if your life is such that you want to be a jackleg, putting it nicely, then you have that right. One thing that I like about Trump never, his ego won't let him hide who he is. His arrogance and who he is, he shows you who he is and what he is every time he opens his mouth. Now, the funny thing is that people, my question that I have is like, why is it that we can't be real about that? Because Donald Trump, and I don't mean he has all the right, every time he opens his mouth, every time he speaks, the words are from his money and his penis. And so if it doesn't involve his penis or his money, he can't have a conversation. And that money is his arrogance, who he think he is, and how he sees other people. And the arrogance comes from how he looks at women through, the judgment. And that's why I say his penis. So his level of his understanding of his purpose and how his measurement of who he is goes to his penis, and how he able to look at a woman and say, because of who I am and what I have and all of this, then I am the man, because this woman is going to be attracted to me. And we know why. And then the decision, and all the people that gather to him, that come to him and surround him, embrace him. And this is what I say, and what I want to talk about in the show was being a bully, but he's a bully, but he's not the kind of bully that if he was by himself, because there's some bullies that we know that even when you ran upon them when you were growing up, they kind of bullied you. Well, Trump is not going to bully anybody if it's just him and somebody else. That's not going to happen. He's not just going to, he's not going to bully you if it's just him. If he had an encounter with him and somebody else, that's not going to happen. Okay? That's just not going to happen, because he don't have those kind of, that's not the way he bullies. He bullies from the standpoint of the position that he sits in. That's how he bullies. But then my pastor brought up something a while back, a long time ago. And so in this country, and I just seriously think that there's something wrong with us. I always say this, and I believe this to the day that I die, that I think if somebody from another world came here and saw us, they would think we crazy, because we are a crazy society. Our value systems are jacked up. How we see ourselves and others are jacked up. And so everything is based on nothingness. There's no substance to what we believe other than our own insecurity and what is best for us. See, Donald Trump don't operate in the realm of what is best for the people. The people who vote him in only operates in what is best for me. And that's the only way they know how to operate. I only do what needs to be done and what is best for me because I see others, you are beneath me. And that's a whole nother show. Because when you live in a country and no one, I mean, we're so dysfunctional to the point that we accept it, to the degree that we have normalized just being mean, hateful, and a bigot. We have normalized just being a racist. It's normal. You know, when you write in the Constitution and when you accept that I'm 1/5 or 1/3 of a person, what the hell is that? It says more about you than it does about me. And then you go, yeah, oh, okay. Well, this country is based on that. That's why they don't have a problem with the disparities of the prison system, of all the disparities when it comes to health and how people of color are labeled because they have already accepted it's okay to be a racist. It's okay because you people and how you see yourself. And so when it's okay, now, like for an example, I think it's the funniest thing. It's not funny, but like for an example, when Kaepernick is trying to stand up for what's right, and because of their sheer racism, because what they're really saying is that you really should be shot and killed and all this other stuff, you really should be treated this way, the prison system is supposed to be this way. That's why they don't have a problem. That's why they rather flip the script and trying to say somebody is disrespecting the flag, because that's what this country is based on. It's obvious that there's a disparity. It's obvious that there's racism. It's obvious there's a problem with how people of color are being treated. But there's no problem to these people. And what I said, what's funny is the NFL owners. The NFL owners didn't get together and say, well, there's a problem. Why he's kneeling? That's not their topic of conversation because they don't see a problem. They don't ever think is a problem. Because after all, what is it? I'm 1/3, 1/5, or whatever it is, I'm of a human being in the first place. So the fact that the prison system is the way that it is, people being shot and killed, they ain't having no conversation about that. They having a conversation about their money. Because that's their God. And that's the only way they know how to see or solve a problem is, man, you know, y'all messing with the money. But what about the guy that got shot and killed and he was running away and he got shot 11 times? Isn't that what's supposed to happen? They're not going to sit and talk about there's a problem. The problem is, man, my stadium might not be filled. That's what they're going to sit and talk about. That's the society in the world that we live in. And then what is so sad is that the people of color and even the people who are, let's just say, in that circle in the sense of the NFL, the players, and so on and so forth, that's their mindset as well. Because it's all about their making their money and being in a position to show up on Sunday. And I just think it's absolutely amazing that a person of color go and play in the NFL, live in a real nice neighborhood, drive a real nice car, and their neighbors can ride around their neighborhood and not be stopped. But you done played in the NFL in your nice neighborhood in your nice car, then you got to sit there and have a conversation with your son and how you got to act when you being stopped in your neighborhood by a cop. You don't see there's a problem. And that is what's so sad. And that's what I meant by when my pastor was talking about how we learn. Because if there anyone that knows about bullying, anyone is Washington, D.C. When they sit there and they run their ads, when they're trying to get your vote, that's all they do is bully, lie, deceive, and bully. And it's okay to do all the things and say all the things that they say. So East Coast versus West Coast? Who teaches us that? Truly. But I guess I'm just naive because I guess I just haven't settled with the fact that that's just normal and that's how it is and that's the way it's supposed to be. I guess I shouldn't have a problem with it. When we're supposed to look to our leaders and people who's supposed to lead us and supposed to have intelligence and supposed to have intellect. But that's not what this country is. This country is, what can you do for me? It's run by money and power, not by the people, for the people. That's a lie. And the sad part of it is that we accept it and we're okay with it. So what is amazing to me is that Trump can sit. And I don't blame him because, and I say this, and I say it all the time, and that's this right here. One of the issues and problems that we have is that there's a little Trump in all of us. That's the problem. There's a little Trump in all of us. What does that mean, Charles? There's something like sitting on the king, sitting on the throne. That's really the seat that we really want to sit in. See, there's something in of us that really, there's something in us that says, well, we really should be able to break the law just a little bit. I really shouldn't be called to the carpet for what I really do, because I really should be high above everybody in the little things that I should be able to get away with. See, that's Trump. I do what I do. I can break the laws. I can make the laws. I don't care about what's in place. It does not pertain to me. And unfortunately, the people go, okay, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. It is, you can't tell me the devil is not alive and well. Devil busy as all get out. And for us not to hold each other accountable, is there something wrong? There's something wrong when we can't hold each other. Wrong is wrong. There's no gray area here and there and all this other stuff. There's right and there's wrong. And what's right for the people? It should be right for the people. Wrong is wrong. Well, just, no. And when it costs so much, people's lives, and the list goes on, but we have accepted and have lived within ourselves that we're less than. That's why it's so easy to use the N-word, because we believe it. They instilled it in us to be less than. And for those who really understood where it came from and what it means, how you gonna call yourself that, let alone your brothers or sisters, and be comfortable with it? Because you brainwashed. Your ignorance supersedes you. Your inability to understand your self-worth is nowhere in the room, let alone what God made you and what he intended you to be. Letting loose, not even looking around you, just looking at yourself and your creator and his value system and what he says. But you rather listen to man and what man got to say and his judgment on you. So you good with it. So you have a problem. And so you cheat yourself. You cheat your family. You cheat your future. You take away your dreams. You let others take away your dream and just who you are. And unfortunately, your dreams has to do with all of that has no value. Everything that you cherish has no value. All of that you want to be in the sense of what you see life to be has no value. And that's the sad part. And no one, I bet you, if someone's to come up and ask you and say, well, what are like the 5 or 6 crowns that you should be trying to, accomplish or achieve? What are the crowns that you should try to achieve in heaven? You probably wouldn't even know, or even think that you should be even trying to get into heaven. But that's a different kind of show. But I started out wanting to ask you about bullying. And the funny thing is, I got a little something here that I showed earlier. This is from when I was back, and I just play like a little bit of it, not much of it. But years ago, I did for a period of about 10 years, I had several shows that I host, several that I produced. And generally 99% of everything I did was with kids. I don't have kids. I don't have kids. I often wonder what it would have been like. Never been married or anything like that. I often wonder what it would have been like to be married. Always wanted to be married ever since I was in sixth grade. But that's another show. But the problem that we have with bullying, it plays a major part in our culture and our society. How you deal with a bully. Our president is a bully. Our way of life is bullying. And so many times you've seen people commit crimes that's been bullied in a way, whether or not they were molested or mistreated, dealing with anger, stuff that's inside, and the list goes on and on. But I used to be very much involved with the SAFE program here in our Orange County, Orlando, with the school system. Used to be very much involved with the Urban League, Weekends of Orlando. Used to be very much involved with the school system, the sheriff department, Orlando Police Department, and so on and so forth. Covered them a lot, highlighted them a lot. And this is something where, through the SAFE program, just for a minute, and see what this kid says about bullying. Marge LaBarge, who was at that time over the SAFE program with Orange County Public Schools, used to be a very powerful, big program in the school system. I don't think it's as active as it was now, as it was back then. But here's Marge LaBarge for a second talking to a kid. Let's see what the kid has to say.
I sure am glad to be here. I just came from a meeting where all the big people were, like the chief of police and all the big people in this town. And I tell you, it's a lot better to be here with you and see your smiling faces than being with a group of stuffy people. So I really appreciate the time you've given me to come here and talk to you. I just want to say one thing. As I've told people before, and you may not understand this, and this is going to be very short, but you ought to go home sometime and ask your parents if they know what it is to be bullied. Every one of you, just go home and ask your mom or dad, do you know what it is to be bullied? How many of you know what it is to be bullied? Cool. Can you tell me what it is to be bullied? Do you want to come up here? You come up here and tell me? Come on. I want to tell you that most people have been bullied at some time in their life, and that's what this program's all about. Tell me your name. Joseph. Joseph is going to tell you what it is to be bullied.
Like you fight people?
Like what?
You fight people.
You fight people because what have they done to you?
Yeah, too.
They bothered you? Okay, Joseph said that when you're bullied, you fight people because they've done something to you. Just one more. Yes, ma'am, young lady, right there. Yes, you. You. Chrissy, come here. All right, Chrissy. All right. Bring it on. All right. Tell me what it is to be bullied.
Bullying is like if someone's your friend and other people want to fight you, and your friends go around and help them fight you.
All right, so that's being bullied.
Yes.
So what can your friend do instead of helping them fight you?
leave them alone and walk away.
Walk away. That's cool, huh? All right, I want to ask you another question, and then I'm talking too much already. I know that, but I wasn't on the program to talk this much, but put a mic in my hand, and that's the way it is. All right, I want to ask you another question. How many of you have ever had, how many of you have a very best friend? Okay. All right, great. Now put your hands down. How many of you, wait 1 minute, put your hands down. How many of you, now listen to this very carefully. How many of you, if someone was picking on your best friend, pushing them, calling them names, how many of you would tell them to leave your friend alone? Awesome. Awesome. Wow. Well, let me tell you something. That's what it's all about. It's about not hurting someone else, not saying things that are bad. And the other thing it's about is helping each other out. When I was 10 years old, and my staff is tired of hearing this, and they probably think I should keep my mouth shut, but that doesn't matter to me. How many of you have fifth graders? When I was your age, I moved from a small country to the state of Georgia, where they thought there was something weird with me because I spoke Spanish and very little English. And I had kids who would pull my hair, sit behind me, pull my hair, put chewing gum in my hair. They would put glue in my locker and between my book pages, so when I opened the book it tore, and then the teacher, I was in trouble with the teacher and had to go stand in a corner. And they would call me names, and when I went go out to play, I was always the last one chosen on a team. And every day I would cry. And every day I would tell my mom that I had a stomach ache and I didn't want to go to school. That happened to me for 2 or 3 years. I even had a little boy come up to me and say, I want to be your friend. Here, I want you to have this birthday candle. And so he put the birthday candle in my hand, but it wasn't a birthday candle, it was a firecracker. And it went off in my hand. And you know what? Finally, the teachers didn't help me. I would go to my teacher and she said, oh, it's okay. They don't mean anything by it, just ignore it. But finally, I had one little girl who came out and was my friend and told the other kids to leave me alone. And from that on point, they did. But having a friend to be there for you is so important. And that's what I want you to remember. If you have a friend that someone is doing something to, you don't want to let it happen. You can always go and tell an adult, but you can make a difference. Thank you so much for being here and for letting me see your smiley faces.
Hi, I'm Dr. Abraham Woods, a urologist in Altamont Springs, Florida. Today, I'd like to get you interested in something that you probably never heard of. There is a shot going around, and it's not the flu shot, that's giving rejuvenation and vitality to women. Now, there are times when women laugh, cough, sneeze, and wet themselves. This same shot helps to correct that problem. If you've never heard of it, there's a shot that's now called the O shot. This shot has a lot to do with giving you back your platelets. Plasma that's rich in your platelets has been shown for years to help with revolutionizing your body. Think about Kobe Bryant, an athlete that had knee trouble. Instead of getting the surgery done, he had injection of his platelets. Now, today, we have available in our office a procedure that can take almost 20, no more than 30 minutes of taking your blood, drawing your plasma and getting your rich platelets so that we give it back to you in a nice, sterile environment under local anesthesia. This is something we need to talk about. Are you interested? Can we get closer? Look at me at centerforurology.org. I'm Dr. Abraham Woods, and I would like to introduce you to something that may revolutionize your orgasms, your ability to have good sex, removing dyspareunia, that is painful intercourse, removing leakage of urine, and making you more sexual and increasing the capacity for you to obtain and receive better orgasms. Check me out, Dr. Abraham Woods at centerforurology.org, and I would like to help you increase your sexual performance and bring rejuvenation to your life.
All right, that's my man. That's my guy. That's my urologist. And I always tell him, I said, man, thank you for having small hands. You know, I really appreciate that. Anyway, he's a really good guy. Very, very smart guy. And see, people define smart academically. I don't, because there are people who are very smart academically, are like some of the dumbest people in the world. So anyway, they can go make A's and B's on the tests and stuff like that, but they're not so smart, not so wise, I should say, not so wise. Anyway, that's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother show. Well, originally, again, I eventually got to my topic today, and that was bullying. You know, I talked about so much, and I said originally the show was supposed to be, my guest is supposed to have been my little sister down in Miami, and she's been in the nursing field now for well over 25, 30 years. And I wanted her to come on and give us an update on what's going on, give us some tips on some do's and don'ts when you're going into the hospital and going to the doctors and those things, you know. But I'm going to have her on. We're going to get her computer straight. As she started to turn on her computer, it started to update itself. And I don't know, from the way it sounded, it looked like it's going to be until the end of the weekend before it finally finished updating itself. But I want to remind you that the third Monday of every month is that we have Dr. Cathy Meeks from the Robinson and Associates, where we talk about sex. Fun topic, right? And then there's the fourth Monday where we have Hakeem Nkrumah, where we talk about child custodies and child custody laws and preparation, some of the do's and the don'ts with young fathers of Central Florida. And also want to remind you that you can check me out along with Coach Vince Carter. Wednesday nights. We love the world of sports, don't we? And Youth Central Sports is about, really, it's about sports, but I like to come from the angle of who we are in sports. I personally think that there's something wrong with us. I think sports is used as a substitute of our purpose. I think sports is used as an excuse for passion and for a lot of the things that we should be doing and the relationships we should be building. But within that, all of that can take place if you put it in the proper perspective, because that's what sports should be and that's what sports can be. But we have made it, for a lot of us, a religion. That's another show. So you check out Youth Central Sports at www.youthcentralsports.com, 11 o'clock, Wednesday night. And I'm with the original Coach Carter. And we're happy to come your way. And we talk about sports. And as Coach Carter would say, sports is more than just a game, and how truthful that is. Now, with that being said, again, I am happy that I was able to make it through the hour somehow, some way. But you may have a show idea. And with that being said, you may want to be on the show. You may know someone that you would like to have come on the show. So we try to be informative. We try to hit on some heavy things, but we try to hit on some light things as well. So you can email us, hit us up. As a matter of fact, you know, one of the things that I didn't put up that you could have done today is that you can always text us. It would have come straight to my phone right here. right here. Let me see. Do I have my phone? I was charging. It was on. Okay, it's almost full. But always looking for show ideas, looking for you to take part. And so, with that being said, I was able to make it through the hour. Oh my goodness, it's been a whole hour now, and I got a chance to yap, 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 without my guests. As I was saying, my little sister found out that her computer was updating, and so she was not able to come on the show today. So I'm going to let her know that my heart is broken. And also, I was trying to get one of my other friends to come on. She gave me a hard time. I have a friend who was in the Navy, and so I wanted her to share that experience and what it was like to travel around the world and for different countries, and how she would see that, because right now her daughter, who is a freshman in college, is following in her footsteps. She's part of is it ROTC, something like that, the Guard, something. But anyway, she's part of the military freshman in school, following her mother's footsteps. She has to, whatever she's doing, a couple of times a week, PT and all this other stuff. So I wanted them to come on and talk what's that's like. Is that a good idea for our youth today? Also in the future, I've been wanting to do this for over a year. I want to have a round table. You tell me what you think about this. I want to have someone from the Marines, the Coast Guard, the National Guard, the Navy and the Army and the Air Force, and just talk about their experiences and what they think of today's military, and is that a good place to be? Because everybody that I talk to now and understanding is good for some and is not so good for others. But if you have the discipline, or some may need the discipline. So we want to talk about all of that with those who have been in the armed services. Some of them that I have access to made it a career. They were able to retire. We could talk about that. But I also had a gentleman on, which if you go back, which I think is one of the very good shows, and I had my pastor's brother on, Ron Jenkins. And the show was really about should women be on the front line, but more importantly, he was talking about what it was like to be in real combat in Vietnam, and what that was like. And when you sit there, and when I say I think there's something wrong with us, when you really honestly sit there and talk about what war really is, and how much we're not so civilized. And when he sits there and he talks and he tell you our job was to go out daily and just kill people. Well, that's what war is. And that's the reality of war, when he talks about a lot of the innocent people that he know that was killed. And we're talking about women and children and so on and so forth. But who am I to have that debate, right? Just a way of life. Welcome to life. Welcome to planet Earth. Why the heck should I care? Anyway, thank you for joining me. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate you. And I'm Charles Morris, and where we come to you every Monday at 7 p.m., www.thejourney2020.com. And with that being said, Francis, baby, dear, darling, sweetheart, you're going to be okay. You're going to be back to normal. God's going to cleanse your body. You're going to beat this cancer thing. And you're going to be Francis, as I call you, Miss Popular, all over again. And with that being said, everybody, prayers go out to you, family and friends. With that, enjoy the rest of the week. You be blessed. I'm Charles Morris.